Hello everyone and welcome back to PSGL Round 4 here in Brazil, Interlagos. And as Interlagos quite often is, it's raining here in qualifying. I have done no practice in the rain for qualifying spec anyway, so I was much guessing on a setup that we need to be going forward with. So, the scenario is, it started Q1 in the full wet conditions. We opted not to go out. We opted to try and save the tyres for later in the session, i.e. right now. Going out for one run, trying to maximise it, and then save possible sets of intermediate tyres for later on in the sessions if we needed them. So, we've got 2 laps to get this done. Into the middle set, you can see the rear is not settled, coming to the right-hander, even being so gentle on the brakes, the downshift and the brake bias is so far forward, the rear was squirming, no traction was, well, the traction wasn't what we needed going into the apex. It's very cautious through that right-hander, and you can see downhill left-hander as well, struggling to get on the power 5th gear, using up all the road on the exit into the final corner, the final real corner of this track anyway, running up the hill, and now we are going to be flat out through this left, running up to the start-finish line into 8th gear. We're going to be doing this lap, we're going to cool down and do another lap, but this lap puts us P7 at the moment, and that was not what I was expecting, to be honest, because although we had a few mistakes in the middle sector, the lap was pretty hooked up. We hit basically every apex, we carried as much speed as we could without losing more rear traction. So, we know that we've done a good lap already, but we need to do better. P11 probably will not be good enough to put us through into Q2 right now. So coming down into turn 1, full speed, hit the brake, and now we're going to be going down into 4th gear. Pretty nice turn 1, you can see, but the front is just not gripping. You're just sliding around on the front, on the rear axle as well. We're slightly up in our first sector time, and now coming down into turn 4, you can see braking hard now, down into 4th gear, and you can just see the front is just refusing to grip up. We're losing over half a tenth in that one corner alone. Coming to the middle sector, we know we've got a bit of lap time to find. You can see through the fast right hander, just turning the wheel and nothing's happening with the front grip. Now into the apex, you see the rear is still loose and goosey. It's just not gripping up. Now through the left hander, understeer, understeer, understeer again. Now 1.5 tenths up, really pushing hard, trying to fight the car, get the lap time out of these tyres right now, which is so dearly not giving us the grip that we desire. Through the left-hander, into the final real corner of the track, you can see putting the car in again, just understeering all the way to the exit of the corner. It is not good, it's not grippy, it's not traction, and now we're running up to the start-finish line, and this is going to be 2.5 tenths up. Where can this put us? Where can we go? And running up to the line, and there was no grip. You can see P15, there was no grip. Oh man, it was understeer. Yeah, you can see my initial comments were just saying understeer, and yeah, I put a setup risk on. I tried a different setup going into qualifying, because like I say, I had not tested the rain before. Didn't pay off. These things can happen, but now it's time to focus the correct number for the race. We're P18, we're starting on the soft compound tyre, super aggressive strategy coming up today. We're going to try and make something special happen in this race. It's going to be dry all the way through. We're on soft compound tyres. We have got 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights here in Brazil. Lights out and away we go. We get a pretty phenomenal start as well. We tried to go to the inside, but the Alpine covers inside. We have to lift the throttle. Now going to the outside of turn 1, looking for the space, looking for the gap, going around the outside. You see Alpha Alcantara has a snapper oversteer. We decided to cut the corner. We did not gain any advantage from that though, and that was just to make sure that we avoided contact with Caraton as everyone seems to bunch up into that apex. Now flying down to turn 4 and lap 1. You can see looking for the clean air, looking for the space down into the apex of turn 4. Hard back on the power, everyone's fighting it behind. You can see Dylan Warren is going to be all on the grass, fully committed up the inside of Jed, And you can see now everyone's bunching up ahead. Marcel Kiefer getting a snap of oversteer. And you can see we're going down the inside. But ultimately, there's no space there. And you see Dylan getting a massive snap of rear locking. And that costs us a lot of track position. Trying to go around the outside of Caraton. Caraton squeezes us off the track. Now we're on the grass. Daniel Moreno's looking around the outside. You can see we're leaving him adequate space on the outside, running side by side. And you can see that is move done by Daniel Moreno. Great move by him, all things considered as well. Very opportunistic, very clean, very fair. You can see now Dylan Warren is getting pushed out on the exit of the final corner here in Brazil. And now running up down the pit straight to end lap 1. Ultimately making up 2 places. Could have been more, could have been worse. But that is racing. And now coming down into turn 1 for the first time at Racing Seed. You can see weaving behind, trying to fill the mirrors of Daniel Moreno and the cars ahead. See if we can distract them a little bit out of turn 2. Now flying down from turn 3 in the slipstream. Not really going to be close enough to do anything. So we're not pressing the battery, not wasting the battery right now. Again, looking for a bit of clean air. Trying to see if there's cars up ahead. Trying to battle. See if we can be opportunistic and make up some positions. Now flying down into the middle sector where it can get a bit scrappy. You can see Marcel Kiefer up ahead under pressure. And you can see the... Well, Alvaro Carlton sends it up the inside of the Red Bull. Tags Marcel. And you can see now it's causing a massive Constantino effect. And now looking down the outside of Daniel Moreno. Alvaro Carlton, Daniel Moreno battling hard up ahead. You can see we're trying to go for the switchback on the exit. Try and pick up the traction. And we do get a very good exit. But Daniel Moreno is very smart and covers that off. And we're not able to make anything of that opportunity. Up ahead, the Alpine of Patrick Seaforth has damage. I didn't know it right now, but you'll see him peeling into the pit box right about now. And that promotes us up into P15. And now my strategy was to save battery, save tyres, and really try to focus on for later in the race. But opportunities happened earlier than I was expecting. Now into the middle sector, so dangerous here. Marcel sends it up the inside of Jed. Alvaro Carlton goes wide. Danny Moreno, Alvaro Carlton side by side. You can see we're trying to sniff out an opportunity, trying to go around the outside here in the braking zone, but can't really do anything. Carlton goes up the inside of Marcel again, trying to look for the switchback on the exit, but mainly as well trying to keep our nose clean. And now lap 4. It might be the same repeated scenario of people sending up the inside, and you can see everyone goes through very cleanly on this lap, but still drama can be just around the corner. Danny Moreno is looking for opportunities, and we're looking up the inside of Danny Moreno for our opportunity, and you can see we go down the inside, but Danny Moreno leaves the door fairly open. Very good, clean racing. He saw us go for the move. We made sure not to understeer wide into him. He gave us the room on the apex. So again, great racing between myself and Danny Moreno up the inside of the middle sector. Now lap 5, you can see all over the back of Danny Moreno using a bit of battery, trying to slipstream, trying to follow, trying to put pressure to the cars ahead. You can see we used a bit of battery there, what we saved up earlier in the earlier laps. You can see Carlton go down the inside of Marcel Kiefer. He sends it, there's contact. Carlton pushes Marcel completely wide there. And you can see we're going for the switchback on the exit. You can see Carlton struggling for traction. Now we're out around the outside of Carlton, getting the move done up into P14. Marcel Kiefer unfairly got an illegal overtake warning from being pushed off by Carlton there, so that does promote us into P13, so was able to capitalise on other people's mistakes, moving ourselves up into a much more advantageous position in this race. Lap 14, and this will be the lap we decide to come into the pits. We're saving a lot of battery, saving a lot of tyres, trying to maximise this stint. Definitely we was able to put in a very good stint here. We was doing lap times within a tenth of each other repetitively, saving the battery, saving the tyres, and now we're going to be able to come into the box. Well, at the moment we have 70% on the battery, and that is a very good position to be going into the pit lane. Coming into the pit lane, now lap 14, diving, getting the car slowed down to 33 miles an hour. Fairly safe. And you can see a small communication with our engineers saying good stint, how we managed the tyres, how we managed the battery, how we managed the racing positions, getting the overtakes done with minimal risk was really solid earlier in the race. But now we've got a fight on our hands, we've got a challenge, we've got a few laps to make this undercut work coming out of the pit lane. You can see we get Jed up ahead in the Red Bull, who is on the hard compound tyres. He's going to be about 1.5 seconds up ahead, 1.3 seconds in fact up ahead, but we have to get DRS on him at the end of this lap. If we do not get DRS on him at the end of this lap, we're going to risk losing so much race time. So you can see using a lot of the battery right now, 1.2 seconds. The advantageous thing for us is that he's on the hard compound tyres, but it's going to take a bit longer to get temperature into. You can see middle sector absolutely sending it. 1.4 seconds to Dylan Warren behind as well, who will equally be pushing as hard as he can into the right hander. Smooth back on the power, looking for the traction. Now we're 8 tenths, 7 tenths. We've pulled another tenth away from Dylan Warren in that middle sector as well. So showing that we're having very good pace here, despite being in the dirty air of the Red Bull up ahead. Using the battery, we are now in the DRS zone. You can see Jed is not really going to fight this either. It's a very smart, strategical, methodical decision now going down to turn 1, using a little bit more battery just to ensure that we can be ahead at the apex, getting the car slowed down for the apex. And you can see now Daniel Berezne is on the exit of the pit lane here on a lap fresher tyres than us, so he's going to be in a very strong position later in this race. But it's going to be critical that me and Daniel can actually work together as well, not fight each other too hard, because we have got about 2.2 seconds to the leading battle. Yes, the leading battle is only 2.2 seconds ahead of us, and we started P18 and lap 16. We are only 2 seconds away from fighting for the lead. That Aston Martin of Fabrizio Donoso, as you saw, just flashing through the camera, the AlphaTauri and the Mercedes of Jarno Opmeer are fighting for the race lead here in Brazil. And I have to say, this has been a phenomenal start for this race. The first 16 laps have been absolutely nailed to get back into a position to challenge for the race lead. But now, what we need to do is challenge Daniel Berezne for what is going to be P14 on track, but will turn into P4 once the pit stop window has unfolded. You can see Daniel Berezne doesn't have DRS, he's not fighting us, and now we're going to try and work together. Daniel Berezne is a very accomplished, very smart, very fast driver here as well. So we're going to work together as much as we can and try and close our way up into the cars ahead. I knew that if I did not get the DRS on Tom ahead of us, it would be very difficult and we'll be very vulnerable to the cars behind. So we are 1.8 seconds behind Tom right now going into the middle sector, and we have to get the DRS. This has to be a perfect middle sector from us. Into the right-hander, kiss the apex, hard back on the power, taking risks over the hill, right up against the white line, down into third gear, kiss the apex, through the left-hander, let the car rotate, hard back on the power, down to 1.3 seconds, already half a second taken out of that AlphaTauri of Tom ahead of us, putting the car into the apex, smooth back to the power, deploying battery through the left-hander, fully committed, using the battery down here, and now we're only 1 second away. We have to nail this final apex. We do, hard back on the power, hard back on the battery, and we are only 9 tenths away. So we did get the DRS, and we was able to close nearly a second to Tom in that middle sector there. That was absolutely nailed. But lap 19, we're all over the back of Tom, but Daniel Berezne has been saving his battery behind us. He already had more battery in us anyway, and we are all over the back of Tom, running a little bit wide into the apex, but nothing really costing us time there. You can see Tom is struggling relatively on his hard compound tyres, as my medium tyres are still relatively fresh, relatively grippy, and definitely up for the fight of trying to gain the position with him. Fortunately for Tom, he was able just about to stay in the DRS of Jarno up ahead, what made our life very difficult. We knew Daniel Berezne was going to have a lot of battery and was going to start pushing. And you see Tom is now flashing up ahead as well. Deploying our battery, because that's all that we could do, is trying to defend from Berezne at the same time. But Berezne has so much straight line speed, has so much battery that he goes up the inside of us. We let the position go for now, trying to do the switchback and try to get that position back on the exit of turn 2. You can see we did get a better exit, but Daniel Berezne isn't even flashing on his battery yet. He is going to fly past Tom with ease, and that is going to cost us the position to Berezne. But still, we are very much in a good position to try and overtake later in the stint. You can see we did a few laps of battery saving, tyre saving, got a battery up to 50%, and now we're just going to fly past Tom on the straight as Lucas Blakely, Bio Bondman are closing in behind us as well. So it's going to be critical that we're able to maximise the gaps for the car behind as well, getting the slipstream of Daniel Berezne. You can see now lap 27, Lucas Blakely is only 2 tenths behind us, and if we want to win this race, if we want to get a podium, we need to be able to keep Berezne in front of us right now and keep Lucas behind us. We need to stay in this position that we are, save the battery. And you can see Lucas hits us very hard from the rear, and I think I got rear damage from that. At least it definitely really hurt my rear tyre temps, and for the rest of the race, the rear grip was never the same. You can see already sliding the rear for this apex. And my...
Hey man, that's against Bro Code. What are you doing?
That was my initial reaction. Lucas, I think, gave us damage in that instance. Definitely hurt our rear tyre temps. And I was a bit upset.
You can't use your battery there. After you hit me, you can't do that, man.
I was very upset here because Lucas hit us, cost us at least half a second and possible damage, and definitely rear tyre temperature damage.
You can't hit me to make me use my battery.
You can see I was very upset because Lucas hit us, and then we had to use our battery to defend. Now going side by side with Lucas. Now being side by side. And this bit was just hard, but fair racing all over the exit curb. Now you can see in the slipstream of Lucas Blakely, we've got more battery than him, trying to go around the outside into turn 4, back on the attack. We were defending. The hunter has now become the hunted, and now around the outside, by bomb and up the inside. You see Lucas Blakely going to go defensive, but we're going to go on the inside, slightly under the grass. Now into the right hand, the 3 wide down the inside, getting the move down the wrist, square move for traction, side by side with Lucas Blakely, but down the inside where the contact happened a lap ago, and now getting the position back from Lucas later in lap 28. You can see we are falling at the DRS of Daniel Bresley up ahead, and now Bari and Lucas are going to go. We're not even going to fight it down the straight. We're trying to try and live for another day, and now we're going to save our battery, save our tyres for later on in the race. Only 7 laps to go here in the Brazilian Grand Prix, but still a lot of opportunity to save battery and to get back into race winning contention. You can see saving the bit of battery coming down into this apex of turn 4. But yeah, you can see the drama is unfolding ahead for Fabrizio Donoso, losing a lot of time and positions to Bari, and we're becoming under threat from Lucas as well. But for my position, going over that whole sort of incident with Lucas, of course, there's no beef. Me and Lucas are very good friends off the track as well. But definitely, I felt like I got damage and definitely got rear tyre wear. What really hurt the balance of the car, you can see wheel spin coming out of the final apex of the track. But going back to my main point, yeah. So it was very critical to fight. I wasn't happy with how Lucas was attacking me down the straight after making me lose a lot of the slipstream from the cars ahead. But this is how racing goes, and I'm not going to sit here and cry about it. Of course, I was upset in the moment, but I can even say in the commentary right now, I'm not going to sit here and cry about it. It's how racing goes. I'm sure it was not intentional from Lucas, and the battling after that was hard, but fair. Both me and Lucas had some fun talking to each other about this as well. So, yeah. He's a racer. I'm a racer. We don't need to complain and cry about these things like babies. But get into the main point back here on lap 32. Lucas sends out the inside of Fabrizio Donoso. Now Donoso has gone from leading this race all the way down into P5. Big snap of oversteer, having to lift out the throttle to make sure we possibly can get collected in his instant right there. Now we're saving a lot of battery. We're trying to build up to the final laps of the race to put ourselves in the best possible position to slingshot past as many cars as possible. Lap 32 on to the DRS straight. You can see Fabrizio Donoso straight away pressing the battery, whereas we're not pressing the battery, trying to save, and so is Shinaki Clay behind us saving his battery. Skipping forwards later on into the race, lap 34, you can see we are now up into 30% on our battery, and you can see Daniel Bresley has been pushed off the road ahead of us. Now it's going to be 3 wide, almost 4 wide down this back straight. Fabrizio's trying to squeeze for space. Lucas is defending. Fabrizio is going around the outside of Daniel Bresley, gets pushed off the track, gets a 3-second time penalty for going off the track as well. But I'm pretty certain will be removed, but I'm not too sure yet. And now lap 34, it's really heating up in these final laps of the race. You can see Lucas Blakely is flashing on his back. He's in a very vulnerable position. Donoso is ahead of us. We definitely have the most battery out of this whole pack, I believe, at least up to Bari. I think we do have more battery than Bresley and Fabrizio and Lucas as well. So we are definitely within a chance of fighting for this podium paying position. Into the final corner of lap 34 onto the straight. You can see we're trying not to use our battery, but Shinaki Clay is using his battery, closing right up to the back of us, and we really want to try and save our battery for later in the race as well. You see now Shinaki Clay is backed off from using his battery. Now going into turn 1, trying to fill the mirrors of Fabrizio Donoso, see if we can make him make a mistake, but he doesn't. Into turn 1, into turn 2, you can see we're getting a better exit. We have definitely managed our tyres better than Fabrizio, I would say, in this whole stint, considering we boxed around the same time. There's going to be a little bit of drama here, as Danny Moreno's retired Aston Martin almost causes a collision between the leaders. Of course, Danny Moreno was not driving his car. That was the AI doing its own thing. Going into the middle sector, you can see I was trying to lift off to give myself a bit of clean air to the head, but Schnackerklay goes down the inside. Brilliant opportunistic racing. Now we're going to hang it down the inside of Schnackerklay as well, and now we're going to get that position back, but that's cost us so much time. But like I say, Schnackerklay is more within his right to go up the inside of me there. It was great opportunistic racing from his side. He got it slowed down on the apex, and I have to say fair play and respect to him because, as I've said 3 times already, it was great opportunistic racing, but that has really cost us a chance of attacking Fabrizio Donoso up ahead, and now we're having to use our battery to try and close back in. You see Fabrizio is flashing on his battery. If we did not have that instant and we was able to follow and exit within 3/10 of the final corner like I was doing on laps before, I'm pretty confident we would have been able to get past Fabrizio into turn 1, but that's how racing goes, and that's how racing will continue to go. You see, trying to save our battery down the straight, but Schnackerklay is really pushing us hard. Fabrizio has used all his battery, and we are definitely probably about 6%, 8% higher on his battery compared to Fabrizio as well. Into the middle sector, and it's now really critical that we nail this. Possibly try to force a mistake out of Fabrizio. Daniel Beresne is probably going to be out of reach here, so we're going to really need to focus on Fabrizio Donoso hugging the inside line in the dirty air, squirming away, trying to get the traction down for this final opportunity of the race, looking for the switchback on here, trying to get maximum traction, trying to get the most out of these tyres now. Only 2.5 tenths away from Fabrizio. Coming to the final corner, we send it on the brakes, getting the car rotated quite nice. The rear is giving up a little bit. We do not get the perfect exit, deploying battery, but you can see Schnackerklay is going to be putting us under a bit of pressure, but we should be safe running up to the line. And we're going to cross the line P5. I'm not sure if it will stay as P5 or P6 because it's dependent on Fabrizio Donoso getting his penalties removed. But of course, there can still be a lot of penalties for other drivers. So ultimately, I'm going to say P6 right now and maybe higher if penalties don't get removed or penalties get applied for other drivers. But even with P6, going from P18 and picking away and carving, manage the tyres, and we was able to get up to P6, and I think that was a fantastic result, and from us was really maximising our potential. A dreadful qualifying, but more than a great race to make up for it going forward. So the next race is going to be in Vegas. I'm going to be streaming the race live on my Kick channel, what I'll be linking down below in the YouTube description. So if you're interested in watching live, be sure to watch there. But thank you so much for watching. I've been Brendon Leigh, and I'll catch you in the next video. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.